This is SMNI News Channel. Truth that matters.
In the headlines, we begin with a growing rift between world leaders in Munich. The Munich Security Conference ended with new doubts over the transatlantic alliance. Sharp exchanges between US and European leaders exposed divides over defense and autonomy, casting uncertainty over future cooperation. While alliances are under strain, Venezuela is emerging as a new hub for American energy. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez and Energy Secretary Chris Wright toured key oil sites as sanctions ease. The move opens vast reserves to investors, signaling Venezuela's return to global energy markets. Meanwhile, Mexico is stepping up, proposing a lifeline for Cuba. President Claudia Sheinbaum is weighing a humanitarian air bridge for food and medical aid. The plan positions Mexico as a mediator as U.S. pressure strains Cuba's power supply. Meanwhile, Taipei and Washington are deepening economic ties through a new trade deal. President Lai Ching-te announced a reciprocal agreement to cut tariffs and expand cooperation. The deal strengthens Taiwan's global tech position amid regional tensions. Back home, the Philippine Army is shifting its focus to external defense. The military is moving away from internal security toward territorial protection. Expanded joint exercises with the United States aim to boost readiness. And however, the Duterte camp is questioning a new move by the International Criminal Court. Duterte's lawyers are challenging a new ICC list linked to the drug war probe. They call the timing politically motivated. I'm Carlo de la Peña. Newsline World starts now. As the Philippine Army gradually shifts its focus from internal security to external defense, it is further strengthening its partnership with the United States to promote regional stability. Almar Forzuelo for the story.
The Philippines and the United States reaffirmed their strong military ties during the official visit and meeting between Lieutenant General Antete, the Philippine Army Commanding General, and General Ronald Clark, the United States Army Pacific Commanding General, at Philippine Army Headquarters in Fort Bonifacio, Taguig City. General Clark's visit comes ahead of the upcoming exercise sa Laknib between the two ground forces, as well as exercise Balikatan scheduled in April 2026. The high-level engagement also sustained committee meeting held at Philippine Army Headquarters in November 2025. Lieutenant General Navarrete emphasized that the Philippine Army remains committed to strengthening its partnerships dedicated to maintaining regional stability and promoting peace across the broader Indo-Pacific region. Both sides reaffirmed their shared commitment to enhancing interoperability, advancing mutual defense capabilities, and ensuring a secure and rules-based Indo-Pacific. For God and my beloved Philippines, Almar Forzuelo.
And Rido-free communities in Omar and Luok Sulu, the 102nd Infantry Brigade conducted a localized peace engagement at the headquarters of the 101st Infantry Battalion. 10 leaders of the Moro National Liberation Front or MNLF attended the meeting, along with community representatives and security partners. The activity was led of the 101st Infantry Battalion. A representative from the Omar Municipal Police Station also joined the engagement, emphasizing the importance of interagency cooperation and peace-building efforts. Discussions focused on unity, dialogue, and shared responsibility in sustaining peace initiatives in the area. MNLF leaders expressed their full support for the government's efforts toward reconciliation within their communities. The activity concluded with the signing of a pledge of support, symbolizing the collective commitment to maintain peace in Omar. President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced simplified rules that make electricity subsidies more accessible to low-income families and speed up the application process for household installing solar panels under the net metering program. Creselyn Catarong reports.
Information and Communications Technology Secretary Henry Aguda.
Speaking at the event, Collective Response to Presidential Commitments in the Energy Sector at the Meralco Theater in Pasig City, President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. announced that electricity subsidies are now more accessible to low-income and marginalized families following reforms that simplify program requirements and speed up processing. The President said the government has clarified policies and streamlined procedures to make electricity more affordable and reliable. He emphasized closer collaboration with the private sector, including Manila Electric Company or Meralco, to expand electrification coverage and reduce costs for consumers. A key reform involves the Lifeline Rate Subsidy Program or LRSP, which provides discounts to low-income households struggling to pay their electricity bills. The program had long been underutilized due to complex requirements.
Alam po ninyo na noong isang taon, pinagtuunan ko talaga ang pansin itong lifeline rate na ating napapag-usapan. Sabi ko, ang tagal na nitong programang ito, ngunit bakit ang liit lamang ng bilang ng pamilya na nakikinabang dito? Ang sagot, masyadong masalimuot ang mga requirement.
As of November 2025, only about 334,000 households were enrolled, roughly 11% of the estimated 3 million beneficiaries of the Pantawid Pamilyang Pilipino Pro in coordination with distribution utilities. Under the updated policy, 4-piece households consuming 50 kilowatt hours or less per month will receive a 100% discount on their electricity bills. Low-income families not covered by 4-piece but living below announced reforms to the net metering program, which allows households and businesses to install renewable energy systems such as solar panels and sell excess power back to the grid. He acknowledged that unclear rules and limited capacity among electric cooperatives had previously slowed down applications. After consultations with the Department of Energy and the Energy Regulatory Commission, the government introduced measures to accelerate approvals. The DOE, Department of the Interior and Local Government, and Department of Public Works and Highways signed a joint memorandum circular requiring local government units to use standardized application forms and follow mandated processing timelines. Reporting for Newsline World, this has been Queseling Catarong, SMNI News.
The Philippine Travel Agencies Association or PTAA expressed support for the proposal to abolish the travel tax, saying it would reduce the direct expenses of passengers and boost the country's tourism activity. Angel Pastor reports.
The Philippine Travel Agencies Association or PTAA supports the proposal, which seeks to remove the travel tax imposed on airline passengers would be prioritized. The proposal is among the 20 priority measures of the Legislative Executive Development Advisory Council targeted for approval before the end of the first half of the year. However, the PTAA also criticized the current policy of the Bureau of Internal Revenue requiring travel agency costs to agencies. There are also instances, they noted, where agencies are placed at risk due to possible shortages or discrepancies in computation and reconciliation. While supporting the proposal, the PTAA stressed the importance of having a clear plan and sustainable funding for agencies that rely on travel tax collections. The group cited the National Commission for Culture and the Arts and the Tourism Education Skills Development Authority, which depend on travel tax revenues. They emphasized the need to ensure alternative funding sources so that cultural preservation, tourism workforce training, and the long-term competitiveness of the country's tourism industry will not be affected. For God of my beloved Philippines, Angel Pastor, SMNI News.
Atlantic Alliance. Sharp exchanges between U.S. and European leaders exposed divides over defense and autonomy, casting uncertainty over future cooperation. And while alliances are under strain, Venezuela is emerging as a new hub for American energy. Acting President Delcy Rodriguez and Energy Secretary Chris Wright toured key oil sites as sanction ease. The move opens vast reserves to investors, signaling Venezuela's return to global energy markets. More news when Newsline World returns. Sa kabila ng mga mas modernong kaalaman at teknolohiya, nananatiling matindi ang banta ng HIV sa Pilipinas. Pero gaano nga ba kalala ang sitwasyon? Ang HIV o Human Immunodeficiency Virus ay isang sakit na sumisira sa immune system ng katawan. Ngunit tandaan, hindi ito nakukuha sa simpleng pakikisalamuha. Hindi mo agad mararamdaman, pero unti-unti nitong pinapahina ang katawan. At kapag hindi naagapan, humahantong ito sa AIDS, ang huling yugto na impeksyon, kung saan halos wala ng panlaban ng katawan laban sa sakit. Patuloy na dumadami ang kaso ng sakit na ito sa Pilipinas. Isang nakababahalang pagtaas. Umabot na sa 500% ang itinaas ng HIV cases sa mga kabataang edad 15 hanggang 25. Ayon mismo sa Department of Health, 56 na bagong kaso ang naitatala kada araw sa bansa mula Enero hanggang Marso 2025. At ang pinakamatinding apektado, ang kalalakihan at kabataang Pilipino. Dahil dito ang Pilipinas na ngayon ang may isang indikasyon ng lumulubhang sitwasyon. Kaya nananawagan ng Department of Health gawing opisyal at urgent ang laban sa HIV sa pamamagitan ng isang Public Health Emergency Declaration. Kalalakihan ng pangunahing apektado, 95% ng bagong kaso ay lalaki. Mahigit 1/4 ay kabataang nasa edad 15 hanggang 24. Habang wala pang deklarasyon, patuloy ang DOH sa mga sumusunod na hakbang: HIV testing, libreng gamot, self-test kits, at pakikipagtulungan sa patient appointment system para sa HIV patients. Layunin nitong gawing mas madali at mas personal ang pag-access sa libreng gamutan at konsultasyon. Ayon sa schedule ng pasyente, ang HIV ay hindi tulad ng flu. Hindi ito basta naipapasa sa hangin. Ito ay naipapasa sa pamamagitan ng personal na desisyon. Kailangan din nating pagtuunan ng pansin ang ugali, disiplina, at personal na responsibilidad. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI. Madalas ka bang napapasobra sa pag-scroll sa phone mo kahit puro masasamang balita ang nakikita mo? Isipin mo ito. Nakahiga ka na sa kama, nagche-check lang ng phone bago matulog. Tapos, hindi mo namalayan, ilang oras ka na palang nagbabasa at nanonood ng mga balita tungkol sa digmaan, sakuna, politika, at lahat ng masasamang nangyayari sa mundo. Nakakaramdam ka na ng kaba at pagod, pero tuloy mo pa rin ang scroll mo. Ang tawag dyan ay doom scrolling. Ito ang habit ng paulit-ulit na pagtingin sa mga negatibo o nakaka-depress na content tulad ng digmaan, krimen, o problema sa mundo. Nakaka-stress, pero hindi mo pa rin mapigilan. Ayon sa isang pag-aaral ng Texas Tech University, ang sobrang konsumo ng masasamang balita ay nauugnay sa pagtaas ng stress, anxiety at pisikal na sintomas gaya ng pagkapagod at sakit ng ulo. Ayon naman sa Harvard Health, ang doom scrolling ay nagpapataas ng fight or flight hormones tulad ng cortisol at adrenaline na nakakapagpabigat ng isip at katawan. Nakakaapekto ito sa iyong mood, tulog at maging sa mental at physical health mo. At kapag naman puro memes at random na content ang pinapanood mo ng sunod-sunod hanggang sa mawalan ka na ng gana na mag-isip at gumawa ng iba pang gawain, ang tawag naman dyan ay brain rot. Sa Gen Z at tinatawag na internet culture, ang brain rot ay overconsumption o sobrang tagal na panonood ng paulit-ulit, mababaw, magulo o walang saysay na content online hanggang sa parang manhid na ang utak mo. Kapag nasobrahan, syempre, nakakasama. Lutang o foggy ang utak. Masaya sa simula, pero kapag sobra, napapagod ang isip mo. Nahihirapang mag-concentrate at parang lutang. Mas delikado pa ito sa mga bata dahil ang utak nila ay nasa proseso pa ng pag-develop kaya mas malakas ang epekto ng doom scrolling at brain rot sa kanila. Maaaring makaapekto sa pag-aaral, pag-iisip at pakikitungo sa iba. Ang higit sa 4 na oras ng screen time araw-araw sa mga kabataan ay konektado sa 35 to 88% na mas mataas na posibilidad ng depresyon, anxiety, stress. Base ito sa isang malawakang pag-aaral sa Brazil. Kaya, maging balanse. Magpahinga sa screen, magbasa, makipagkwentuhan, magdasal, maging present lagi. Alagaan ang iyong isipan. Kung anong itinatanim sa isipan mo, yun ang lalago.
Isang pindot lang, pwede kang maka-jackpot. Mukhang masaya at easy money lang. Sa murang halaga, poker at iba pa, kailangan mo lang ng smartphone, e-wallet at internet. Pero ang aliw na ito, unti-unting nagiging bitag para sa mga Pilipino. Lalo na kung ang paborito mong artista o influencer ang mukha ng app. Mas madaling makaengganyo, diba? Parang safe naman kasi may kilalang mukha. Pero sa likod ng ngiti, sugal pa rin ang itinutulak. At syempre, mas madali ring itago ang pagkalulong sa bisyong ito. Walang pisikal na kasino o pasugalan, walang kaharap, walang accountability, kaya't mas lumalala ang adiksyon. Dagdag pa rito, maraming online gambling apps at walang regulasyon. Sa likod ng mga makukulay na interface at papremyo, nakatago ang problemang bumabalot ngayon sa bansa. Ang pagkalulong ng maraming Pilipino sa online gambling. Pwede maglaro kahit saan, kahit kailan, kahit sino, bata man o matanda, pwedeng malulong. Walang pera, mga malalaking negosyante at investors na negosyo ang bisyo ng masa. Para sa kanila, perang pumapasok lang ito. Pero para sa ordinaryong Pilipino, kabuhayan at relasyon ang nauubos. At ang masakit, tila matagal itong nahayaan. Hindi ito naging prioridad ng mga nakaupo sa taas hanggang sa sobrang lumala at halos na apektuhan na ang buong komunidad. Ngayon, sa dami ng nalulung at sa laki ng pinsalang ng pagbabawal sa paggamit ng e-wallets para tumaya, pagtaas ng minimum bet, mas mahigpit na identity verification, pag-block ng mga illegal na gambling sites, at bawasan o ipagbawal ang mga ads, isa itong sugal sa kinabukasan. Ang kita na dapat sa mga pangunahing pangangailangan o ipon na uubos sa sugal. At sa mundo ng online gambling, mas madali kang matalo kaysa manalo. Huwag hayaang sugal ang magdikta sa iyong buhay. Isang paalala mula sa SMNI.
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumunong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating inang bayan.
The Munich Security Conference has wrapped up with fresh doubts over the strength of the transatlantic alliance after days of blunt exchanges between American and European leaders. The three-day summit, now on its 62nd year, brought together top defense, diplomatic, and political figures to discuss global security challenges. But instead of unity, the gathering exposed widening differences over the future of the Western Alliance and the global order. In his closing remarks, Conference Chairman Wolfgang Eisinger said this year's security report, titled under destruction triggered sharply. The national system is not just under threat, but, in his words, already gone. U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio struck a different tone, calling instead for the system's renewal and restoration. Eisinger said the debate raised deeper questions about whether what was once called the West by delegates from Denmark and Greenland, warning that certain geopolitical red lines, if crossed, must be taken seriously. On Ukraine, Eisinger described the war's outcome as an existential question for Europe, one that will shape the continent's long-term future and must also be recognized in Washington. This year's conference focused heavily on European defense, transatlantic relations, and competing visions for the global balance of power. A giant sinkhole has caused a major road to collapse in Shanghai's Minhang district, prompting authorities to deploy heavy machinery to secure the area and begin emergency repairs. Joy Tabanao reports.
Authorities in Shanghai scrambled to contain the damage after a massive sinkhole triggered the collapse of a major roadway in Minhang district, with emergency crews now working to secure the site and begin urgent repairs. Officials say the collapse occurred at the intersection of Xixin Road and Lian Road near ongoing excavation work for services. Authorities confirmed that a localized water leak discovered during construction work may have contributed to the collapse, activating an emergency response plan before the ground gave way. No casualties have been reported so far, and traffic has been diverted while the site is cordoned off. Evidence suggests nearby office buildings and residential complexes were evacuated as a precaution. Emergency teams have brought in cranes, excavators, and other heavy machinery to stabilize the crater and begin repairs. Municipal officials also are assessing structural safety and investigating underlying causes. Residents and commuters voiced concern over the sudden collapse and the potential impact on road safety and ongoing construction projects in the rapidly developing district. Shanghai city officials say public safety remains a top priority, with efforts focused on securing the site and restoring normal traffic as quickly as possible, while evaluating measures to mitigate future risks. Joy Tabanao, your citizen correspondent reporting for Newsline World.
A historic diplomatic shift is underway in Venezuela as acting President Delcy Rodriguez and U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright toured the nation's key oil hubs. Following the relaxation of U.S. sanctions, Venezuela's opened its massive reserves to foreign investors, signaling an ambitious plan to return as a global energy powerhouse in partnership with American firms. More on this from Carla Abellana.
In a visiting marking the highest level engagement between Washington and Caracas in nearly 30 years, acting President Delcy Rodriguez and U.S. Energy Secretary Chris Wright inspected the Jose Antonio Anzoátegui Industrial Complex and the Petron Independencia facility. The tour across the states of Monagas and Anzoátegui highlights a new era of cooperation. Rodriguez emphasized that the Venezuelan people are ready to welcome investors, specifically highlighting the long-standing partnership with Chevron as the blueprint for elevating the nation's oil industry to international standards.
El pueblo venezolano es un pueblo que abre sus brazos a quienes vienen a nuestro país, y también es un pueblo que está completamente dispuesto con alegría a recibir inversionistas de otras partes del mundo y de los Estados Unidos también, para que trabajen junto a nosotros y llevar a la industria petrolera a los más altos estándares.
Secretary Chris Wright noted that this mission is ensure that political and economic agreements between the two nations remain as smooth as possible. He confirmed that the American company Chevron has the potential to ramp up production in the region to 300,000 barrels per day. This surge follows the Venezuelan parliament's recent reform of the hydrocarbons law, which dismantled years of state control to allow for significant private and foreign investment.
Trata de lograr que los dos acuerdos políticos y económicos sean lo más fluidos posible entre nuestros países, pero no cabe duda de que Chevron puede aumentar la producción de esta instalación. Esta zona a los 300,000 barriles por día. No hay ninguna duda.
A major breakthrough was also announced during the tour of Venezuela's debut as a gas exporter. Rodriguez stated that the goal to export the nation's first molecule of gas by 2026 is now a reality, supported by U.S. initiatives to modernize Venezuela's electricity grid. The Caracas government is betting on these energy alliances to stabilize its economy. For God in my beloved Philippines, Carla Abellana, SMNI News.
Mexico is escalating its support for Cuba as President Claudia Sheinbaum announced that food and medical supplies reached the Cuban people despite what
Sheinbaum signaled that her country is ready to serve as a regional hub for aid, responding to questions about the energy blockade imposed by the Trump administration. Sheinbaum expressed openness to establishing a formal air bridge. She noted that while jet fuel craft are welcome to refuel on Mexican soil to keep the flow of humanitarian goods moving.
Si lo pide la Cuba, pues habría esas condiciones, por supuesto. Sí, de hecho, los vuelos mexicanos de aerolíneas mexicanas no están cerrados a Cuba porque pues aquí hay turbocina y está muy cerca.
This comes just days after two Mexican Navy vessels delivered over 800 tons of food to the island of the capital. A different kind of mobilization is taking place. Hundreds of citizens and grassroots collectives, including the Jose Marti Association of Cubans, have set up collection points for the From People to People campaign. Donors are dropping off sacks of rice, powdered milk, and vital medical supplies like syringes and gauge. Organizers say this is a direct response to the Monroe Doctrine 2.0, which they claim seeks to starve the Cuban population through a total economic siege.
Hoy arrancamos la campaña de pueblo a pueblo, acabemos con el bloqueo. Estamos invitando al pueblo mexicano y a todos los amigos a que colaboren con insumos médicos y alimentos para romper el cruel y genocida bloqueo que ha impuesto los Estados Unidos a Cuba durante más de 6 décadas. Decirles a la gente que hay que estar unidos, que defender a Cuba es defender a toda América Latina, porque no es solamente Cuba, sino un poder hegemónico que quiere imponer el presidente Trump con una nueva doctrina Monroe 2.0, que lo único que está buscando es apropiarse de todos los recursos naturales de la región.
President Miguel Diaz-Canel has praised Mexico's stance, calling the aid a valuable exemplary history of sovereignty. With no fuel shipments reaching Cuba, Ton is clear. Mexico will not remain indifferent to the humanitarian toll of the energy blockade. For God and my beloved country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNI News. Paul Montebon, SMNI News.
Taiwan President Lai Ching-te announced a new reciprocal and deepen economic cooperation between Taipei and Washington. Val Divina Gracia for the details.
Taiwan President Lai Ching-te announced that the island and the United States signed the Taiwan-U.S. Maritime Investment. He added that earlier in the day, both sides completed the signing of a reciprocal trade agreement. Lai said that under the MOU, Taiwan has secured reciprocal tariff rate will be reduced to 15%. He described the agreement as giving Taiwan the largest reduction in reciprocal tariffs among major U.S. trading partners, reversing what he called long-standing disadvantages due to the absence of a free trade agreement. Lai said,
彻底扭转长期以来台湾为何美国签署 FTA 所造成的贸易劣势，也为我们的农业以及传统产业进军美国市场。
Lai also emphasized that Taiwan is deepening its strategic economic partnership with the United States, strengthening supply chain resilience and enabling Taiwanese companies to expand internationally. The announcement marks a significant step in Taiwan-U.S. economic cooperation, with Taipei positioning itself as a key partner in manufacturing, trade, and global supply chains. Reporting for Newsline World, this is Val Divina Gracia, SMNI News.
When we return, the Duterte camp is questioning a new move by the International Criminal Court. Duterte's lawyers are challenging a new ICC list linked to the drug war probe. They call the timing politically motivated. And finally, the next generation of basketball stars has taken center stage in California. The USA Stars, led by MVP Anthony Edwards, defeated the USA Stripes to win the NBA All-Star Showcase at the Intuit Dome. More news after the break.
Ikaw ba ay namomroblema sa taas ng electric bill buwan-buwan? Huwag mag-alala, narito ang ilang paraan upang makatipid sa kuryente. Patayin ang mga ilaw at appliances kapag hindi ginagamit. Sa halip ay gumamit ng natural na liwanag upang makatipid sa kuryente. Tanggalin sa saksakan ang mga appliances kung hindi ginagamit. Iwasan ang paggamit ng maraming appliances ng sabay-sabay. Gumamit ng LED bulbs. Ito ay mas tipid sa kuryente kumpara sa mga incandescent at fluorescent bulbs. Regular na linisin ang mga appliances tulad ng electric fan, aircon vents at refrigerator. Magkaroon ng takdang araw sa isang linggo sa pamamalansya at paglalaba. Gumamit ng energy-efficient appliances. Tandaan, maging wais sa paggamit ng kuryente upang makatipid para mas gumaan ang buhay. Ang paalalang ito ay hatid sa inyo ng SMNI.
The camp of former President Rodrigo Duterte questioned the timing of the release by the International Criminal Court's lists of officials allegedly linked to war on drugs. MJ Mondihar will give us some more details.
Last week, the ICC, or the International Criminal Court, released a list of former and current officials included in the investigation into the war on drugs of former Philippine President Rodrigo Duterte. 2 Philippine lawmakers are also included, Senators Ronald De La Rosa and Bongo. Also named were former Philippine National Police or PNP generals like Vicente Danao, Camilo Cascolan, Oscar Albayalde, and Isidro La Peña. Former NBI Chief Dante Garan and former Justice Secretary Vitaliano Aguirre were also included, along with other police officials. According to Attorney Martin Delgra, one of the lawyers of the former president, the said document is old and was already released as early as 2025. However, he noted that the redacted items previously did not include the allies of the former president, unlike in the newly released ICC list.
Bahagi lang po, and if I may, as I made mention earlier, ito pong dokumento na ito already existed as early as July 2025, 8 months ago. So wala pong nagbago sa status o kondisyon ng proceeding ng kaso ng dating Pangulo.
Delgra also expressed doubts about the timing of the release of the list. This follows confirmation from the ICC that a charges hearing in the Crimes Against Humanity case against the former president is approaching.
Bakit ngayon, a few days before the confirmation of charges hearing, they had a lesser redacted version where they disclosed the co-perpetrators of the former president? Ano kaya ang reason kung bakit inilabas nila yan?
Duterte is scheduled to appear before the ICC Pre-Trial Chamber 1 from February 23 to 27. The confirmation of charges against him and the view of the status of his court custody will be heard during this period. Delgra also cited a reason as to why the ICC allegedly released the co-perpetrators list at this time.
And the only reason that I can think of is this is for the domestic audience, the domestic Philippine audience. Yun lang po ang ibig sabihin niyan. Bakit nilabas yung mga pangalan? Para lang talaga sa domestic Philippine audience at mapag-usapan ng taong bayan.
Reporting for Newsline World, this has been MJ Mondihar, SMNI News.
Children will grow up and bring the joy, the love, the peace, and compassion to the whole world. We only have one planet. We only have one Earth. And I hope that this new generation of children that we have reached out will become millions and billions and bring peace on Earth. Bring peace to humanity.
Pasasaan pa ang kalayaan kung ang mga alipin ngayon ay sila din naman mang-aalipin bukas.
Ibigin mo ang iyong bayan ng sunod kay Bathala, sa iyong kapurihan at higit sa lahat sa iyong sarili.
Hindi natin mapapalaya ang ating mga sarili maliban kung sumunong tayo na nagkakaisa sa iisang hangarin.
Ang tunay na makabayan ay ang tumutupad ng pagpapabuti ng kanyang mga kapwa, gaano man kaaba ang kanyang katungkulan. Naway magsilbing paalala ang kanilang mga salita upang lalo nating mahalin at tapat na paglingkuran ang minamahal nating inang bayan.
Senator Christopher Bong document of the International Criminal Court in connection with its investigation on the war on drugs. The senator insisted that his role was purely administrative and clerical and that he had nothing to do with any police operations. Aaron Rojas reports.
Senator Bongo strongly rejected the accusations, identifying him as an alleged co-perpetrator in the document released by the ICC Office of the Prosecutor on February 13. According to the senator, this is far from his actual role as Special Assistant to the President from 2016 to 2018 and earlier as Executive Assistant in Davao City. Go stressed that he had no knowledge of, participation in, or authority over the alleged operations and that he was never the head of the presidential management staff. The senator added that his work was focused focused solely on administrative support and assisting with the personal schedule of former President Rodrigo Duterte. Go also emphasized that throughout his long years of service with Duterte, from when the latter was mayor up to his presidency, he never received any illegal order. Despite the issue, the senator assured that it will not affect the performance of his duties in the Senate, particularly in pushing for programs for the poor and those in need. According to Go, he will continue his public service with compassion and focus. For him, serving the people is serving God. Meanwhile, the ICC has yet to release an official statement regarding the senator's defense. Reporting for Newsline World, Erdan Rojas, SMNI News.
The 3rd Division of the Sandigan Bayan entered a not guilty plea on behalf of former Senator Bong Revilla after he refused to enter a plea in his malversation case. The court also granted Revilla's motion, allowing him to appeal before the Office of the Ombudsman regarding the case filed against him. Margot Gonzalez reports.
Former Senator Bong Revilla Jr. declined to enter a plea before the Sandigan Bayan in connection with his malversation case involving an alleged boost flood control project in Bulacan worth more than 92 million pesos. The court automatically entered a not guilty plea. The court also entered a not guilty plea for his co-accused Juanito Mendoza, former head of the finance section of the Bulacan 1st District Engineering Office, after refusing also to enter any plea. Meanwhile, the Sandigan Bayan 3rd Division granted the appeal of Revilla and Mendoza to file a motion for reconsideration against the Ombudsman's resolution charging them with malversation. The court had earlier dismissed their appeal but later reconsidered after they filed a motion for reconsideration. Accordingly, Revilla and Mendoza are partially granted leave of court for the filing of the MR. The court, on the other hand, directed the Ombudsman to resolve the matter within 60 days.
As we have maintained, meron pong violation po ng due process sa parte ni Senator Bong. No?
She added that Revilla continues to fight the allegations against him. The former senator is expected to file a petition for bail on February 20, along with the submission of his pre-trial brief. For God and the beloved Philippines, this has been Mark Gonzalez, SMNI News.
Questionable and seemingly selective in its targets. This was a serious allegation.
Amid consecutive flooding incidents across different parts of the Philippines, calls have intensified to scrutinize the billions of pesos allocated for flood control projects. House Deputy Minority Leader Edgar Erice says they're implicated in anomalous projects but slow down when investigations begin, pointing toward more influential personalities. The lawmaker did not name the individuals he was referring to but insisted that documents and testimonies warrant moving the probe to a higher level of review. He added that if the administration is truly serious about fighting corruption, no one should be considered untouchable or exempt for investigation. Erice also emphasized that the flood control issue is not merely about money, but about the lives and safety of citizens. Every time heavy rains cause communities to flood, he said, it reflects possible negligence, overpricing, or even ghost projects in implementation. He is now urging congressional oversight committees and relevant agencies to pursue the investigation fully, warning that halting probes when prominent names emerge will only deepen wherever it leads, even to the doorstep of the Malacanang Palace. For God and my country, the Philippines, reporting for Newsline World, this has been Paul Montebon, SMNI News.
Aging rice for sale? The Federation of Free Farmers is raising concerns over the planned auction by the National Food Authority, or NFA, of thousands of bags of 3 to 18-month-old rice this month. Sheena Torno will give us more details.
Around 750,000 bags of old rice from the National Food Authority will be auctioned on February 20. This comes after the agency failed to sell the rice to local government units and national government agencies under the food security emergency implemented by the...
A lot of those stocks baka pulbos na po yan.
The FFF also said it is not confident many private buyers will purchase the rice if it is already that old. However, the NFA earlier assured the public that the rice to be sold is still in good condition and safe for human consumption ahead of the auction. The NFA also said it will ensure the quality of the rice. The agency is still targeting to earn over 900 million pesos but admitted that the government will still incur losses from the sale. The NFA cost is around 40 pesos per kilogram, but it plans to sell the rice at
Actor Rupert Grint said he's obviously against fascism at the Berlin Film Festival, though critics says his remarks fell short. Meanwhile, stars gathered at the Hollywood Palladium for the 41st Film Independent Spirit Awards. Blake Ann has all the buzz.
Rupert Grint, best known for his role as Ron Weasley in the Harry Potter films, was asked by a journalist about the increase in far-right activity in Britain. He replied by affirming his opposition to fascism. It's clear and that brief remarks at a press event do not necessarily reflect the depth of his views. The actor continues to promote his latest projects at the Berlin Film Festival while navigating the mixed reactions to his political comments. A parade of cinema's elite gathered at the Hollywood Palladium on Sunday for the 41st Film Independent Spirit Awards, where stars celebrated independent filmmaking and showcased their latest red carpet looks. Among the standout attendees was model fans and fashion critics alike praised Gerber's bold style choice, noting the elegance and confidence she displayed while posing for photos. The awards ceremony also featured performances, presentations and speeches celebrating the artistic and social impact of independent cinema. As the 41st Film Independent Spirit Awards concluded, Hollywood's brightest stars left a memorable impression in both the stage and the red carpet.
In the NBA's next generation took control as the USA Stars dominated the USA Stripes in the 75th All-Star Game tournament. However, Georgia's Anastasia Metelkina and Luka Berulava are drawing inspiration from Olympic champion Mikhail Sherdorov as they push for a podium finish at the Winter Games. Here's a report.
Stars overwhelmed the Stripes 47-21. Tyrese Maxey scored 9 points, while Anthony Edwards and Chet Holmgren added 8 each. Edwards of the Minnesota Timberwolves was named MVP. The Stars opened with a 12-1 run and later built a 33-9 lead after a 15-0 surge, putting the game out of reach. For the Stripes, Donovan Mitchell had 6 points, while LeBron James, playing in his 22nd All-Star game, finished with 5. Earlier, Kawhi Leonard scored 31 points, including the game-winning 3, to lift the Stripes past the world 48-45. Victor Wembanyama led the world with 19. The revamped format drew praise from courtside spectator Barack Obama, who noted the renewed competitiveness of the event. After skating through minor injuries in the team event of the 2026 Winter Olympics, Metelkina and Berulava returned stronger in the pair short program, placing second with 75.46 points. They trailed Germany's Minerva Fabian Haas and Nikita Volodin by 4.55 points, and lead Canada's Leah Pereira and Trent Michaud by 0.86 heading into the free skate. The Georgian duo credited rest, recovery, and motivation from close friend Mikhail Sherdorov, who captured Kazakhstan's first Olympic figure skating gold by upsetting heavy favorite Ilya Malinin in men's singles. Their Matador-inspired routine at the Milano Ice Skating Arena drew loud reactions, highlighted by a dramatic headstand opening pose. They landed a triple salcho and triple twist lift with only a minor error on the throw triple flip. European champions this season, Metelkina and Berulava are now aiming to secure Georgia's first ever Olympic medal in figure skating when they compete in Monday's free skate.